Hi, everyone. I'm Larry Taylor. I am a spiritual director working at theunstuckspirit.com. And I wanted to talk to you about anxiety and panic attacks because I've had them. So I'm not coming to you from a clinical point of view so much as a personal point of view. As far back as I can remember, I remember being terrified of death and dying, of having my fears dismissed by my parents. I was a very anxious little child. By the time I got to high school or so, I was having full blown panic attacks, although I didn't know what they were at that time. I didn't have that label for them. But I was, and just on my own, instinctively, I learned how to kind of talk myself down out of the panic attacks. I would get in a comfortable place and breathe very deeply and repeat over and over again the word relax. So I would take a deep breath and go, relax, relax. And I would do that over and over and over again. And it lifted me out of those panic attacks. I had a very dramatic conversion experience, and after that experience, the panic and the fears seemed to go away. Turned out they were just stuffed further down into the basement, I think, because when my son committed suicide, I'll fast forward now, I'm in my mid-30s, my son commits suicide, and I'm plunged into the deepest possible grief and agony and pain. And as a part of that, all of that panic, all of that anxiety came rushing back with a vengeance. And I found myself having severe panic attacks to the point where I thought I was dying. I wound up in doctor's offices. At one point, I wound up in the emergency department being treated for a possible heart attack. And each time, the physicians couldn't find anything wrong with my heart. And each time, they said, essentially, this is fear, this is anxiety, this is an anxiety disorder, a panic disorder. And so I understand what those things feel like, and they are very, very scary. If you've had a panic attack, then part of our problem is that we then go around fearing the fear. We fear we're going to have another panic attack, and that can help trigger another panic attack. It's a terrible, very, very frightening experience. If you have or are experiencing something similar, what should you do? Well, the very first thing to do is to make sure you go to your physician and check it out. Perhaps your physician will give you a referral to a cardiologist to run some tests, because there are some, I know for a fact that there are some heart disorders that can cause panic attacks. And there's probably other things too that I'm not aware of. So you want to make sure that it doesn't have a physiological cause. Now, if it does have a physiological cause, don't freak out about that. They can treat those things, and they're quite skilled at doing so these days. You're going to be okay. But let's say that you're having panic attacks. You go to your physician, you get the referral, they run the tests, and the tests don't find anything. Then what's your next step? Well, your next step is therapy. You need to find a therapist, a counselor, who understands anxiety disorders and panic disorders from a clinical point of view, but who also understands it from a practical point of view. Someone who maybe has been through it themselves, or someone that has worked with enough people who have been through it that they can really provide you with the guidance that you need. In conjunction with therapy, it's highly recommended, and your therapist will probably recommend this, that you also make a visit to a psychiatrist. Now, a psychiatrist, of course, is a medical doctor, an MD. And the purpose of that visit is to see if there is some medication that can help take the edge off those panic attacks. The reason for that is that then that gives you some symptom relief so that you can focus in your therapy sessions on the root causes of where that anxiety came from, and you can, in those therapy sessions, learn techniques to deal with those things and work through the various issues. The good news is that there is not just hope, but almost certain cure for these things if we will rule out the physiological causes, if we will commit ourselves to engage in therapy for as long as it takes, and if we will be willing to follow the instructions of a psychiatrist if, in fact, medication is indicated. And it may be indicated for a while and then, not necessarily forever. But again, medication should always be under the watchful eye of a trained physician. In this case, a psychiatrist who is trained in those particular kinds of medications. That's what's worked for me, and that's what's worked for thousands of other people as well. If I can encourage you or help you in any way or answer any questions, you can get hold of me through my website, which is theunstuckspirit.com. God bless you.